The two questions I'm asked most are, what do you think of the electric car revolution and its effect on, the environment, but also what do you think about Mr. Musk? I almost don't really have an opinion on him. I just let him do what he does. What I do know is I'm always fascinated what he's going to do next.
Yeah.
And that's all you need to know. And the stuff that he's produced. 10 years ago, there were not many Teslas on the road in the UK. Now they're everywhere. I don't know any other vertical that's witnessed penetration like that.
Right.
If I walk into a white goods store, I'm not seeing fridges made by companies I didn't even heard of 10 years ago. But there's the second most expensive thing you'll ever buy as a civilian, and he's managed to have that level of penetration. That will go down in the history books.
Yeah.
It's undeniable.
Yeah, it's undeniable. And it's also, he's doing that with rockets, and he's also doing that with the internet. So he bought X or Twitter and turned it into X. And that's a massive disruptor.
Do you do
too.
Twitter? Whatever it's called now?
Yeah.
See, I left it because I got so much abuse initially when I did Top Gear. That's when I got sort of,
you can't read comments.
No, you can't. But then you'd get drawn into conversations. Oh shit! I actually leaving it was the best thing I ever did at that time, and I haven't gone back because I didn't really need it to promote anything. And the toxicity was long before he bought it for me.
The toxicity is just an inherent quality of people being able to post anonymously. You're never going to get away from that.
Yeah.
But you just don't read it. That's the most important thing. Like, people are always going to, if you're a public figure, people are always going to have opinions of you. And there's a lot of shitty people out there. And they're the most vocal and they're the most persistent. Let them talk.
Do you think in 50 years' time, you won't be able to post or comment without your identity being revealed?
I hope that's not the case, but probably.
Yeah.
I think they would like to do that in America.
Yeah.
But I think it's important for whistleblowers. It's important for, people that work in an organization and they want to expose corruption. They want to expose something. They want to expose some illegal thing they're doing in regards to the environment. It's very important. You have to have people. They want to expose the government. It's very important to allow people to be anonymous.
When you're in a dark place, as I was 18 months ago, you can feel that very pertinently. There was a lot of very unkind things said about Andrew's accident and Top Gear afterwards. And I thought to myself, all those anonymous keyboard warriors, fuck you. I was, and you know this, I was almost at that state, which is the ultimate low, the Kelvin of human behavior, which is, I'll meet you in that car park so we can have a fight. You know how bad that is.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it as well as you. But when you step back from it,
yeah, but I don't engage in any of that stuff.
You're quite right.
I don't read negative things, and I don't engage in it. It just, I'm not afraid of it. I know what it is, and I don't like it. I don't think it's necessary. I don't think it's good for you. I don't think anybody gets any benefit out of it. I don't think the person gets benefit out of you calling them a cocksucker. I don't think you get any benefit out of calling them a cocksucker. I don't think it helps. And I just look at it. I do what I call post and ghost.
Yeah.
I post things and I go away, and I don't care what happens in the comments. And also, I'm very aware of bots. I'm very aware because we've done a lot of research. We've done a lot of we'd have a lot of conversations and done a lot of reading about the amount of content that's on, especially Twitter, that's not organic, and it's an extraordinary amount. There's an FBI analyst that estimated it to be in the range of 80%.
Yeah,
80% of all the accounts he thinks are bullshit. And they're used to promote specific narratives. They're used to argue and shame people. They're used to attack certain political figures and public figures. And then that conversation becomes completely changed because there's a swarm of people that have a very specific narrative. And then the casual person reading, well, maybe they're right. Okay, this guy is a piece of shit. I always thought he was a nice guy. And then everything changes. And just don't engage. I'm interested in reading people and their toxic opinions sometimes, but oftentimes I'll go, that doesn't seem real. And then I'll go to their account, and sure enough, they have 39 followers, and it looks like they're probably in, fucking Russia somewhere and in a troll farm. And it's not a real...
The pernicious side to it is like all the aspects of life that we know are bad and we shouldn't go there, be they... alcohol or relationships, whatever it is. If you're in a bad place, you're susceptible, and that's what I find very difficult about that side of the internet.
If you're in a bad place, especially you after that accident,
then it's a magnet. It's like it's just there. It's the crab with its claw open. You're like, everything's saying don't put your finger there.
You can't.
But you do.
I don't.
And I did very briefly, and I'm very glad.
Yeah.
Actually, I'd actually left Twitter before then, but I was I couldn't believe some of the heartless comments that were made afterwards.
It's because they're not there. It's like it's a very inhuman way to communicate. We're communicating in text to a person that you don't see their face, you don't look in their eyes, you don't feel the pain of what you're saying to them. It's not the way human beings are meant to communicate with each other. We were meant to communicate with each other like this.
I know.
That's one of the reasons why podcasts are so successful, and one of the reasons why I only do them with people in the room. Also, it's because the only person I've done without that in recent time is Edward Snowden for obvious reasons. But you don't want to. That's not a good way to communicate. It's not even a good way to communicate with your friends through text message.
No.
You want to be there talking, so the person says something and go, "Oh, okay, I get it." So why did you think that?
But it's the cadence of conversation, and also the quality of silence and the way that you respond.
Yes.
And actually, I'm now going to say something terrible. My podcast is done over Zoom, but it's the same voices every week, so people become used to the cadence of conversation, and they can, I do believe, relate to it. For the comments, confirm that.
Well, there's nothing wrong with doing podcasts over Zoom. The problem is with guests.
Exactly, it doesn't work with guests.
Yeah, it doesn't work with. You can do it, but I know people that do it with guests, and they're fine. They adjust, and they're very good podcasts. I listen. My friend Duncan does a lot of people through Zoom, and they're great. They're great conversations.
But if you had to sit down and speak to a room full of young people about how to manage third-party opinions of you on the internet, what would you say to them? Just ignore?
Yes. Yeah. Well, you have to be self-assessing, though. You can't be a person that is clueless about how other people see you.
Yes.
Because that's not good either. So you have to be a person who's objective and introspective, and you have to be able to honestly assess whether or not what you've done is good or bad. And we've all done good things, and we've all had bad work. And when you put out bad work and you know it's bad, just accept the fact that it's bad, feel that pain, grow because of it, use it as fuel to be better in the next thing that you do, and that's it. But don't wallow in other people telling you suck or other people attacking you. There's no benefit.